Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on The Stolen Valley, a movie that's billed as an action movie starring two women getting their revenge and stealing money. But I don't think it works. Smash a like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 13, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So the hot blonde chick in the cowboy hat and her companion are the good guys, and somehow they're out shooting all these dudes. I just don't believe it. It doesn't look believable in the trailer. She's okay with a gun, but I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying all the shooting and action that's going on. The dudes look way more formidable than she does, and she doesn't look prepared at all for any of this. Doesn't look like, I mean, she's not a bad actress. I believe her as essentially a victim and like part of this story. Let me tell you the whole story that I gleaned from the trailer. So the dark-haired woman. Oh, let's see. Let's read the credits. All these people are going to be mad at me now. Where is the screenwriter? I can't read these credits. They're hard. Written and directed by Jesse Edwards. So this feels like a movie that was written for two male leads, and they swapped in women. But the woman who is with the dark hair, she looks completely out of her depth. She yells at the blonde woman, you can't just shoot people. The blonde woman is like, I'll shoot whoever I want because we have to. There's a thing with money, which isn't very clear. None of this is clear in the trailer, really. The only thing that's clear is kind of the setting. It's got to be like the Southwest or something. Here, you want to jump over here? Come on. Come here. There you go. It's the Southwest because there's a cowboy hats in it, and it's the desert. The woman with the dark hair has a sick mother, and she's dying of cancer. And then somehow she gets involved with some kind of robbery, I guess. And the blonde woman saves her, or gives her a gun, and they try to shoot their way out, or they're going after money. I guess these are the tribal elders. They're somehow involved because I think the dark-haired woman is indigenous. Or Indian, as we used to say. And the cowboys are bad. And here's a scene where she jumps out a window and probably doesn't miraculously get all her arms cut. I mean, look, this would cut her up badly. You're going to dive through a window with no shirt, not even the clothes to keep you kind of insulated from the glass. Yeah, that would be bad. That would be really bad. But if it's candy glass, it's fine. But not a lot of buildings have a lot of installed candy glass that you could just jump through. I mean, I get why they're doing it. They want to have a cool scene where she goes out a window, but it's not cool. It feels like, the brunette is way out of her depth, and the blonde is just acting. I just don't. Even when they run, it doesn't feel like she's athletic enough to even get away in time. The physicality of this movie is not good in my view. Not in the trailer, at least. Now, maybe the movie's better. But you're going to tell me, okay, we're going to write a movie with two women who are going to do all the physical stunts. It's possible to do, but you need women that can really sell it. I mean, you really got to sell it. Because you have to get over the fact that they're women, and men are more aggressive. Men are stronger, and you could maybe have a woman who was quicker. Okay, yeah, she's quick on the draw, and she shoots the guys. Okay, show us that. Show us the difference. I'm not really seeing that in the trailer, and I just don't believe the blonde girl and the brunette girl are going to win against a bunch of dudes with guns. The dudes they got with the guns, I mean, even this guy, You know, it it's like, dude, it's embarrassing. How did you let this chick get the drop on? Like, it's a tough sell, man. Like Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey, I can kind of believe them in these roles, right? They're physical women. They fought. They at least have some of the moves. Um, you just hire a couple of straight up actresses. Even if you just hired a couple of straight up actors, it may not work if they don't have at least enough training. I don't know, man. I'm just not seeing it. Let's see what the comment says. Okay, actually looks like it might be decent. 100% looks good, but what the F is it about? Yeah, that's another problem too. It's a bit vague. Waction movie, don't know what that means, and then something in a foreign language, which I think it's French. I don't know why you would leave a comment. So, based on the kind of confusing trailer, the first act is the brunette woman comes back to town where she lives in Stolen Valley, and her mom's dying of cancer, and she's trying to raise the money, and she doesn't have it. The next thing you know, she somehow gets involved with the blonde woman, maybe as she's escaping a building right next door to where she is, and they mistake her for being partners. And then she escapes with the blonde woman because people are shooting at her. And then the blonde woman is like, well, if you help me, we're going to go out in the desert and dig up some money, and then you could save your mom. And the woman with the brunette hair comes across as very just normal. Like, that would be like if I went to the store, and there was a liquor store next door, and a guy was robbing it, and I had to duck down behind a car because there was some gunplay, and then the robber stood next to me and said, "Hey, dude, come with me, and we'll get away from this gunfire." And then, I ended up like robbing a bank with them. Like, that wouldn't make any sense. I wouldn't do it because that would be crazy. My initial reaction would be like, I'm not going with you. I can't go with you. I'd be useless, number one. And number two, I don't want to go with you. I don't want to be a criminal. Even though I might need some money, like, I don't want a life of crime. I don't know what I'm doing. You have to play characters at the height of their intelligence. That doesn't mean they know everything. It just means they should know enough, right? And that what limited knowledge they have, they should use to the maximum benefit. Since the woman with the brunette hair doesn't seem like she's a gunfighter, her initial reaction should be to get away from the blonde woman as far as possible and not agree to anything she says unless she's held at gunpoint, right? Unless they came to kill her, the brunette woman, and then she teams up with her because, well, you saved my life and I guess I owe you one. But judging what's in the trailer, it doesn't seem to be like that. Again, this feels like they wrote a screenplay for two men and then swapped in women figuring it would work. Maybe you could make that work if the women need more training, bottom line, because they just don't have the look. You've got two. I mean, she's a cute blonde chick. The brunette girl is cute. That makes them look fragile. That's why Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano are better in these roles because they don't look fragile. Now you could say, well, they're not as hot. You'd have an argument there. I'm not going to deny that. I don't want to put them down. I think they're attractive, but they look hardened. They have a look of hardened warriors to some extent because they both fought. So they don't have, in my view, the physicality, but a lot of men do, I might not exude that in videos, but if you give me some amount of training, I'm big enough that I could probably pull some of it off. I could probably pull off like an older mob guy kind of deal, right? And I've done like Hemingway, and he's kind of got that vibe sometimes, you know. So I can kind of pull it off, you know, in a comedic way. Not everybody can pull that off, you know. And I think either the actresses needed more training, or they just needed to cast different actresses. Not that they're bad, but that they're wrong for the roles. You needed like somebody with a harder look, somebody with a meaner look. I'm trying to think who. There was an actress. She was in that Jennifer Lawrence movie I always talk about, where she has to save her dad's house and she lives in the Ozarks. And there was a female character in that. She was in the meth gang, and she just looks she looks like a person that'll shoot you in the face. That's the kind of woman, like, who would be super realistic in this, because she'd be hardened. She's got lines in her face. Now she's older, and look, not as attractive, but she would look the role. I would believe that, oh man, she'll shoot a dude, and she'd be good at it. You know, you could make her good at it. Sharon Stone, back in the day, she was a gunfighter. In that one movie, a little too hot for it. But like, even Sharon Stone kind of had that energy, a little bit of evil energy, because of some of her other movies. So she kind of pulled it off a little bit. You know, I can't think of any other actresses off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the IMDb. But, and again, I'm not knocking the actors and actresses in this. I mean, and it might be good. Maybe it's just the trailer. Sometimes that's the case. But, and it's not a bad premise, right? You know, somebody, you know, it's a typical revenge movie. Somebody comes home, their town's being invaded by gangsters or run by gangsters, and then they shoot them up and they clean up the town. But, you know, it's got to work from a visual standpoint, I think. So here we go. To save her dying mother, Lupe, a Mexican Navajo mechanic bands together with an outlaw cowgirl. Together they must travel across the desert, outrun criminals, and confront a corrupt landowner. Yeah, I can kind of see that in the movie, but I'm not seeing them. Like, if you'd put a scene in here where the cowgirl, like, outshoots a dude, just in one quick scene, like, you know, a guy sees a gun on a table and he reaches for it, and the cowgirl whips out the gun and really fast and says, I wouldn't do that. Something like that, to show that she's got an amazing quick draw. Maybe. Then maybe you could sell this movie. Same thing with the other girl. You would have had to given her some kind of scene. And the actresses, I think, need those scenes, because you need to sell us on their action credentials, because they're not men. And they don't have the physicality that I would expect. They look like, in my view, in the trailer, you watch it yourself and you tell me, but to me, they look like two actresses, you know, just running from point A to point B. So, anyhow, sorry makers of The Stolen Valley. That's just the way it looks to me. I feel bad sometimes when I criticize a movie that's, you know, this is a Blue Fox production. I think it's going right to streaming. Maybe it's a hotel movie. Would I see it? I'd probably see it. There you go. There's a positive thing. I'd probably still watch it, because, you know, I'd want to see if they could pull it off. But if I got halfway through the movie and I'm just like not buying it, yeah, I'd probably just turn it off. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan. Check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble for our more base takes. If you can find a more base take, I say, take it. Check me out, not this week, because I'm not going to be anywhere. Next week, next Tuesday, February 6th, I'll be at North Cape May at Complete Care, and then on the 10th, next week and the weekend after, I'll be at I Heart Horror Day in Sayreville, New Jersey. Hope to see you there. We'll see you